Hello everybody. So did the serpent have sex with the woman in Genesis chapter 3? Now before some of you may want to jump on me for even saying that, bringing that up, let's just take a look at what's being said in Genesis chapter 3. Okay? And why I'm bringing this up. Let's look at verses 9 through 19, Genesis chapter 3. I'm going to read them. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou should not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the woman, What is this thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, you are cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt you eat all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. Okay. Now, looking at those verses there, that's the part where God was giving out the punishments, okay? Because the serpent beguiled Eve, tricked her into eating of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil that she knew not to eat of, and also Adam knew not to eat of, because God had directly told Adam not to eat of that fruit. But the woman knew. She knew not to eat of it too. So the verses I just read is the punishments that God gave out to them because of the sin that took place, because of how they disobeyed God and committed that sin of eating of the fruit. But what's interesting is look at the punishment itself that was given out. Let me start with the serpent, what it says. Okay, let me read that again. And that starts in verse 14 and 15. It says, And the Lord God said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Now think about it. The serpent was cursed above all the other beasts and cattle of the field, and and God made him crawl upon his belly and eat the dust of the earth as a punishment. Okay, probably because he seduced the woman into eating of the fruit that she knew she shouldn't have. So his punishment is to now eat dust of the earth. But it goes on. But the next part. Look at the next part. Okay, now what does that have to do with eating of fruit of a tree? Okay, God says, And I will put enmity, starting from verse 15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. All of a sudden, it's God puts enmity Basically, I believe the word enmity, I think it means like a hatred between, now there's a hatred between the woman and the serpent. So if they did have sex, the two could not become one now, because God put enmity between the serpent and the woman. Okay? There's going to be a hatred now. And also not just between the serpent and the woman, but also between her seed and the serpent's seed. There's going to be enmity between the two types of offspring. Now, how did this come about if eating fruit in the garden was the only sin? Okay, did she commit adultery in the garden with the serpent? It's possible. Okay, let's go on. Let's look at verse 16, what God says to the woman. And unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Okay, her punishment, basically, it seems, in a sense, wasn't even being dealt with concerning eating of the physical fruit. Everything about her punishment seems centered in her, that she had committed adultery. I mean, and was pregnant with the serpent's baby. I mean, now she's going to have sorrow and childbearing, okay? But her desire shall be for her husband, and he shall rule over thee. Okay, in other words, she had sex with the serpent, and so that the two could not become one, God ordained that her husband, that he meant her to be with Adam, would not only rule over her, but her desire now will be for her husband and not for the serpent. Okay? I mean, this is heavy stuff. I mean, there's a lot going on here. And then to Adam, his punishment basically fit his crime. I mean, God told him not to eat of the fruit, and he ate of it, and his punishment was strictly for eating of the fruit. In other words, you know, he has to, from 17, 18, and 19, it's talking about basically how, you know, the ground is cursed because of him now, and it says, in sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. He's going to eat the herb of the field, and sweat of his face shalt thou eat bread till he returns to the ground. But basically, I mean, I don't want to read the whole 3 verses again, but if you read them, you can see how basically Adam's punishment fits his crime for eating of the fruit also. But the punishments between the serpent and the woman both have something to do with like a sexual thing may have happened there. And again, as time goes on, I'm looking at this like it really did happen. Something else to consider is, look at Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. It says, and Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And look at verse 2. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. Now, for the longest time, many years, I've always assumed that like Cain was born first, and then somewhere years down the road, Abel was born. But when you read the verses as they're written, it looks like they were twins. Okay, they both came out at the same time, and it goes further than that. Okay, when you get a chance, look up this word. It's called heteropaternal superfecundation. Forgive me for butchering it, the pronunciation, but it's spelled heteropaternal, heteropaternal, and the next word is spelled superfecundation, superfecundation. Heteropaternal superfecundation. Look this word up, okay? The long story short, the meaning of those words means twins that are born from twins that are born that have 2 separate fathers. In other words, a woman gives birth to twins, except the twins have 2 separate fathers. Now, there's cases of that happening throughout the course of time. Look it up because it happens. I just recently found out about this within a year. I came across this. God started showing me these things. So, but look at this. It happens. There's recorded cases of it in our history of a woman giving birth to twins who each of the twins has separate fathers. So look, did the serpent have sex with Eve? Then Adam had sex with his wife, and when she gave birth to twins, except one of the twins had the serpent as a father, and the other twin had Adam being his father. If that happened in that way, I would say that Cain had the serpent as his father, and Abel had Adam as his father. Look it up, okay? And there's a lot to it. And let me know what you think, okay? Because there's just so much that can be said. Like, where's the half human, half serpent offspring? I mean, where did they go? Because if Cain's father was the serpent, you can see sort of like the genealogy a little bit from then, but then it ends. But so what happened? So what really happened? Let me know what you think. God bless you.